MaddenCast Episode 9. Tonight, it's going to be Vols and OMG joining me. How you
What
doing
up?
tonight?
I'm good. I'm getting over a hangover, but I'm good.
Those are always rough. We got a handful of topics tonight to discover from the winners and losers of the draft, the preseason projections I put out. We're going to look at those kind of in depth. I'll kind of go over, what I was thinking as I did those. We're going to discuss the three new owners we have, as well as Player of the Week, Week 1, and the Game of the Week that will be coming on after our show. Um, and then close out with a couple of our new show mentions. So let's just get started right into it and jump into the winners and losers of the draft. So the first the first winner, in my opinion, was uh, was JTG and the Arizona Cardinals. How do you feel about that, OMG?
I mean, when you have as many picks as they did in the first two rounds, and they hit on a lot of the early round picks, I mean, you can't argue with that. The players he got are super solid, and they're going to hold him down, his defense, for a while. It's hard to find quality starters like that, let alone that are that age that you can develop still, and are cheap. So I think he did a pretty good job in setting his team up for success in the future. I would have liked to see him hit on his second round picks though. I think he could have, like the quarterback that I drafted in the third, he could have took him in the second. Don't know why he
Right.
didn't. Um, but I mean, you take risks and you think they're going to work out, and sometimes they don't. But I definitely agree with this one. He's definitely set himself up.
Yeah, I think the combine really scared him that Vasquez had. I think he was going to go Vasquez, saw the combine, and then saw the combine Hughes, the corner that went number one. Saw that 4.26. I mean, you just can't pass that up
Oh
with the
yeah,
number one pick.
definitely. I
So
don't. I mean, but I don't see why people were really talking about combine when it comes to quarterback, because like I get it, but it's not really necessary. The combine doesn't really tell you much about a quarterback other than
right,
whether he's fast or slow. And Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady are all some of the best quarterbacks, and they're not very fast.
yeah,
But I don't know. I get it, but at the same time, I don't.
yeah. I think the if he would have had a good combine, I think he that would have just helped his development. I think he would have been a star instead of quick.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Um, and I think that's why you saw him fall to the. I think you got him at the end of the first,
Yep.
I believe. So I think that kind of hurt him. Um, so and then other than JTG and the Cardinals, the other winner that I had, I, they were kind of both close as far as winners. I really just wanted to pick one of them, but they were so close. I kind of had to go with both of them as a tie, and that would be Denim and the Steelers. Uh, he did really good. He had the fourth pick and the eighth pick. So what do you think about the Steelers draft?
Um, I don't know who did
He
he
got
grab.
he got
There was that one
the left
linebacker.
outside linebacker. I think Daniel Garcia, 90 speed. I think he's moved to middle linebacker since then.
That's
Um, and then he got at the eighth pick, I believe. He got Norwell, the defensive end.
Oh yeah,
They
that's
could have
right.
been switched. He might have got the defensive end first. I think he got Garcia in the fourth with the fourth pick though. Um, but they were both really good picks. Both I think 80 overall. Garcia might be higher. I'm not
Yeah, I
really
mean,
sure on their
when
developments.
you got two first round picks, it's. I mean, I don't think you really lose in that situation unless you just draft a bust. So he obviously did his homework and found some guys that he thought were gonna help his team. Danny Garcia is a beast. I think any team that drafts him is a winner. I was really honestly considering trading up just to get him because I wasn't sure where he was gonna fall. But
Right.
I don't know. Considering the trades he made, in addition to this, I think that's a huge win for him.
Oh yeah. And you talk about you said with two picks in the first round, it's kind of hard to mess it up. But we're gonna get to our loser because I feel like he just completely
I don't know what
Was
he was
just a
thinking.
disastrous draft. He tried to explain himself on the draft show, and I still don't understand it. But that will be, I don't even really feel like I have to announce it. Everybody knows where I'm going, and that's Beasley and the Cowboys with
What pick is that?
three picks in the top 12 picks in the first round, three out of the top 12, and he went wide receiver on each pick,
Okay.
and all three of them were normal developments, which on this Madden is slow
Slow.
compared to last Madden. Um, so what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, even if you need wide receiver desperately, it, I I feel like drafting two back to back of the same position is pushing it. But three, I don't know. Maybe even if you felt like the first guy was a bust and you take another guy and he's a bust, like why would you risk it and go for another receiver? Like you already put yourself behind the eight ball. I don't know why you would dig yourself a deeper hole. And his team's not bad, but he definitely could use upgrades at other positions.
Right.
It was just I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know. That was especially after trading away all his O line.
Yeah, I think two of
I
the
don't.
picks came from O linemen, trading his center and maybe one of the guards. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for approaching the draft differently, but I
You know,
don't know.
it's
That was weird, and I honestly I feel like he reached
yeah.
quite a bit.
Let's not forget too. Maybe I think it was 2 or 3 hours before the draft, he traded for Adam Thielen as
Yep.
well.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
That makes it even worse.
yeah, I mean that he essentially got four wide receivers on draft night, three in the first round, and then Thielen he traded. So
He could have picked up probably better receivers in free agency.
I would. I mean, Kelvin Benjamin was there. That was probably about the best one, but I think Benjamin's probably better than the three drafted. I know one of them had a pretty high speed and pretty good acceleration, but not good enough for me to pick. And I think that was the only one that was really rated a first round pick. If you did your homework,
Hmm.
and I don't know, he just kept drafting them. So
Unless he's gonna go. I mean, unless his strategy is to go five wide this year. I don't know.
why with Ezekiel Elliott, I don't know why you would do that, but nothing would surprise me with the Cowboys. So let's move on from the draft and jump into these season predictions that I made and Cincy put out earlier this weekend. I think those are going to be kind of hard to read. I apologize. It's just the way the graphic turned out. But we're just going to kind of run through each division real quick. Look at the divisions and kind of see what you think about them. If you got any questions, why I did something, I'll answer them. It's fine with me. So we'll just start in the AFC North. Three teams with a losing record, and then you got the Browns at 11-5. So how do you feel about the North?
I don't know. The AFC North is trash. I mean, Taken barely made it to the playoffs. I think Baltimore is going to be a lot better. I think obviously Bengals are going to be a lot better. But I don't know. I don't see either of those teams. Maybe the Browns barely make it over 500, and that's not a shot. I'm just being realistic based off what happened last year.
Right. So you think Browns end up winning it?
No, I think Steelers will win it this time around. I'm not going to say that Steelers were tanking, but I think it was just like an adjustment period.
Okay. He started out 0-2 so far, so he's got an uphill battle to fight.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But anything's possible. I know Denim's a good player. Let's move on to the East. I got them all really hovering around 500. Have the division winner, the Buffalo Bills, at 9-7. The defending division winner was terrorized. He's no longer part of the New York Jets, so he moved out. New owner moved in. Don't really know much about the new owner, but I have him at 6-10. Just kind of I feel like that's kind of middle of the road. I didn't want to give him too much credit. I didn't want to disrespect him either. So
Right.
I don't know. 6-10 could still be a little disrespectful, but you got to kind of be safe when you're projecting these things. So how do you feel about the East?
No, I mean, I think the Dolphins showed us that he's pretty good last year. I think he can make some noise. Um, Patriots made a couple moves. His team is a lot better than it was last year too. Honestly, I would like to see the Bills. I know that the Bills owner is he's pretty competitive and he's a tough one. Um, but I don't know the Jets. I don't know. They're gonna need at least a couple more seasons because they have a lot of holes. Um, that one, I don't know. It's a toss up. I think between the Patriots and the Dolphins. I
Okay.
think one of those teams are gonna run away with it. Um, but I just like the Bills as like a sneaky pick because no one really gives the Bills enough credit.
Right. And if you ever play him, he will give you a headache. He likes to blitz a lot, and you got to be ready for that, or you'll be getting smacked around and not have a clue what's going on. So let's move on to the AFC South. You can kind of say that this is one of the probably three toughest divisions in the league. A little biased, obviously, because I'm in the AFC South, but in my opinion, I think it's three of the toughest. One of the toughest of the three. I have Mickey winning it, but I have him and Frank tied at 11-5. I just have Mickey winning the head-to-head battles. Had Coastal at 7-9 just because he kind of fell off towards the end of last season. I wasn't here for it. I was on the honeymoon, so I don't really know what happened. But I saw he finished at 8-8, so I had him 7-9 this year, and then I have myself at 9-7. So
Hey, I
what?
got a call. I'll be right back.
You're good. Um, so yeah, I just for me, I'm in this division, so it kind of makes it hard for me to pick. Who I think's gonna do what, but I know Mickey's tough. Frank's tough as well. I mean, hell, the Texans are tough too. Um, so for me, I have Mickey winning that division, and but Frank's gonna get a wild card and sneak into the playoffs. You back OMG?
Yeah, I'm back. Are we
Okay.
still talking about the
Yeah, I was just kind of still
AFC
talking about the
South?
AFC South. Why I picked what, so you can kind of put your 2 cents in.
Yeah, I like the AFC South a lot. Honestly, I think before you had your little leave of absence, you were leading the division, if I'm not mistaken. You're probably my favorite, especially after all the trades you made. Um, you had a, I mean, your draft wasn't great, but um, I don't know. Jaguars is good, but he's hit or miss. Frank, I don't know if he can. He's got some holes on his team. If he can set those straight, he can definitely compete. And then I don't know, Texans. I expect the Texans to be a lot better. I don't know what was going on there, but
Right.
I think Titans are going to win that division.
Well, I'll certainly do everything I can, but we got our work cut out for us. Got a tough schedule. All right, so AFC West, obviously Brad's, 4 out of 5 championships. Kind of hard not to give him the respect he's earned. So I have him at 12-4. And then kind of the surprise, I had the Broncos dropping down to 9-7, and then the Raiders hanging around 5-11, and Ray and his Chargers at 8-8. So how do you feel about those records and the West?
I like those predictions. I don't. No, Ray's not bad, and the Chargers team is not bad either. But who's his quarterback is what I want to know. I don't remember. I know he didn't draft anyone. He's got Winston.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean I don't like Winston. That's why I got rid of him. I don't know. I just don't. I think 8-8. No offense to him. I think that's a little bit too high, especially in that division.
right.
Um, I definitely think Brad's gonna run away with it again. Unless I don't know. Unless he gets some more sim losses and can't play his games.
Well, he's
But
he's played both of them so far, and he's 0-2. He's lost both
um,
to Mickey and then to Ray, and they were both blowouts. They were both wins by
wow,
multiple scores.
man.
Um,
I wonder. I hope Tampa Bay plays the Chiefs this year. Just saying.
I don't know your schedule, so I can't speak on that. But I do know the AFC West. The reason I kind of picked the records lower for Ray and the Broncos, where I know they play the AFC South, and I
Oh,
actually do think they play the NFC South as well.
that's tough.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure.
That is super
So
tough.
that's a tough schedule. And then AFC South. We didn't talk about it when we were in that division, but we play the NFC South and the AFC West. So I mean that's why my records were kind of low, and I had the winners at 11-5 instead of like 12-4, 13-3, just
Right.
because those 8 games between those two divisions are going to be tough.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so then moving on to the NFC side, the NFC North got 3 teams around 500, and then the Packers down at 4-12, and he actually felt disrespected in the chat. So what's your thinking?
I think that looks about right. I think my dad did pretty good last year. The Bears. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher for him this season. I don't think. I mean, his O line's pretty solid, but I don't. I didn't see any like major free agent signings. He said he was going to save his money for next year. So I think each team in that division got better this offseason, except for the Bears. So I don't think he's going to win it this year. Hotep is notorious for having bounce back seasons. We'll just leave it at that. I think he will be a major playoff contender this season, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I I don't know anybody can win that division. I have the Bears winning it, but I have the Vikings and the Lions right there, not far behind. So move on to the NFC East, where Sundance won it last year. Kind of have him at 12-4, winning it again this year. Eagles 1 game behind, 11-5. Cowboys at 3-13, and the new owner Amp King with the Redskins at 8-8. How do you feel about that?
I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys didn't win any games this season. Um, that roster isn't getting any younger.
Definitely got worse too.
Yeah. Um, I depends what Joe's schedule is like with the Eagles. He might. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't make playoffs because that division is tough now with Am King taking over the Redskins.
Yeah, he's once he gets kind of back into the rhythm of things, he's going to be a third, contender in that division.
Yeah.
Then we get to yours, the NFC South. Again, all 4 of them, I feel like could win. The Falcons, I don't know what happened with him last year. He was kind of hit or miss, but he's one of the owners, that can definitely win 10, 11, 12 games if he plays them all. But I have
Yeah,
him at
definitely.
5. I had him 5-11 again this year. And then I have you and Lone at 10-6 with you winning the division. And then I had Prevail and the Panthers at 9-7. And y'all's records were a little bit lower. 10 wins doesn't seem like a lot, but I said AFC West earlier. I meant NFC West is who y'all play, and then the AFC South. So a little bit tougher schedule this season. So I kind of cut the wins down by 1 or 2. With that, being said, so how do you feel about your division?
Um, I think the Saints are clearly gonna be a lot better this year. um, I honestly think he'll probably win the division this year, and Panthers are gonna make it hard for me to win the wild card. But I don't know if all me and Panthers can stay neck to neck like we did last year, then it'll be a fun playoff showdown again. But I see Saints doing a lot better. I don't think I'm gonna win the division again 2 years in a row. I had a couple. I don't want to say lucky, but I had a couple lucky games
Right.
last season. But I don't know. Falcons is definitely better than 5-11. He fell apart towards the end of the season, and I know Sims hurt, but
Yeah.
if yeah, like you said, if Falcons are gonna be around, then they could. I don't know, with that team, they could easily give any one of us in the division a run for our money.
Yeah. And I mean, you look at him this year so far. He started 2-0, so
Hmm.
he's off to a good start. He's got the Titans week 3, so we'll see. We'll see what he can do there. Should be a good game. And then, I mean, not to move on to the NFC West yet, but looking at the South still, Marcus Mariota's probably statistically, overall wise, the best quarterback in that division,
Yep.
and I feel like that could hurt y'all. So that's why, again, your win total wasn't at 12. It was down around 10 because I don't really know if your quarterbacks are going to be great, you and Loans. So
Yep.
time will tell. So we'll see what happens. Um, and then we'll get to the NFC West. So got a new owner, Jaden Pay with the Seahawks, and then you got the Rams. NFC champion coming back again, and then JTG Tank Master, and then you got Mix D-Mac. And D-Mac started well last year, and then he kind of faded. So I have him at 8-8. I have JTG kind of a surprise at 10-6. Man of Wood 12-4, and then Seahawks at 9-7. Again with the new owner, don't really know much about him. I know he's somehow related to Prevail, brother, cousin, something. So I just felt like him and Prevail maybe could be on the same level, so I put him at 9-7. Might be a little bit too much respect, might not be enough. We'll find out. So what's your thoughts on the West?
Yeah. I mean, Rams is no offense to anyone in that division, but Rams is one of the best players in the league, and he's definitely the best team in that division. Um, I think he's definitely going to run away with it. I don't think any other team is going to have like enough wins to even compete for the division. Um, Cardinals, I don't see it happening. Not without a quarterback. Seahawks don't know enough about him, but that roster is suspect. And I don't know, 49ers are weird because they started last season as one of the best teams in the league and fell off. And he's got a pretty strong defense. He should be competing for at least a wild card spot, but I don't know. He's gonna have to prove it again this year.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I feel. Do you think the Cardinals? Do you think he's gonna? You think he's got something for everybody in year two, or
I think if he gets a quarterback, I don't think. I think right now, Bradford's not the answer. I think he needs his stud quarterback to be able to compete. This how this Madden is. If you don't have a quarterback, it's gonna be very hard.
right? Um, let's see. So let's move on from the season predictions to the new owners. You got Sporty with the Jets. You got Amp King with the Redskins, and you got Jaden Pay at the Seahawks. How do you feel about each owner? Do you know anything about each owner? If you do, share it with the league. And I want you to rank how you think the new owners are going to finish between those three.
Um, so I remember Am King from back in the day, from the original League of Legends. Um, but League of Legends, League of
League of
Leagues.
Leagues, yeah. League of Legends, I think, is a game.
um, but I don't know. I don't know him that well. I do remember. Uh, no, that wasn't him. Um, and then Seahawks and Jets. I don't really know either of them either. I traded with Seahawks, and he was pretty reasonable and likes to get deals done efficiently and doesn't like to waste time. So he clearly knows what he wants for his team. But I don't know. That team is. I don't like the Seahawks team, especially as old as they are. They don't have a lot of young talent.
Right.
If I had to rank them, I think a lot of it has to do with just unfortunately how good their team is. I think Jets would finish in last, even though that's not a knock on how good he is. I just don't know. Um, I would say Seahawks would finish second, only because the division I think is more balanced, and then Redskins would finish first between those three.
Okay.
Um, Even though that's also a tough division,
Yep.
I think that squad is nice though.
Yeah. So far through 2 weeks, Redskins are 1-1. Don't know who they lost to the first week, but they beat Beasy and the Cowboys 30-14 in week 2. Seahawks played the Falcons, and that looked like that was a barn burner. Didn't get to watch it, but the Falcons won 41-38. So he competed,
Jesus.
competed with the Falcons, and then we'll get to see the Jets tonight against Cincy. Following MaddenCast, it's going to be the game of the week telecast, and kind of get to, he'll be in prime time, and we'll kind of get to see what he's made of against I was gonna say tough Cincinnati Bengals, but it's probably not the right word. So we'll just say against the Cincinnati Bengals. So
No, I mean that defense. I didn't realize. I forgot about. Didn't he get Shaquem Griffin?
he did.
Yeah, I was looking at his team recently, and him, Buchanan, and Reed as the starting three linebackers.
Tough
That's tough.
linebackers, yeah.
That's tough. I mean, even if since he's not the greatest user on defense, or even if he doesn't call the best plays, if you have that much speed, it's gonna make your life a little bit more difficult.
Right. So let's see. We'll move on from there to Player of the Week in Week One, and that would be. Let's see. Let me get it pulled up. Demir Bird of the Titans, wide receiver. I'm not going to talk about him, so don't ask. And Anthony Barr, the left outside linebacker for the Colts. 5 tackles, 4 interceptions, and then Bird had 5 catches for, I don't know, like maybe 50 yards, something like that, and maybe a touchdown or two. Um, so what are your thoughts on that? Both AFC South representatives.
Oh, that's for AFC.
Well,
Um,
no, this is
uh,
for the whole league, but they were both from the
oh,
AFC South.
yeah. What the hell? I had I don't know. I don't know if those stats don't sound bad for Bird, but I had Ronald Jones with 17 carries and 121 yards and a touchdown, 4 receptions, 24 receiving yards. So maybe I'm a
It's,
little biased,
it's
but
not bad. I
maybe
kind
Ronald
I
Jones.
kind of fudged Bird's stats. I didn't know if you were looking at the image or not, but it was actually 5 catches for 252
Oh
and
Jesus,
three
kinda.
touchdowns.
You were
I'm
off
telling
by
you, I,
200
I
yards.
didn't want to put him out there. I'm not. I'm trying to keep
Jesus.
him on the down low.
Well,
You know,
you're not gonna do that by giving
I
250 yards.
understand that. I wasn't trying to. It just kind of happened.
Oh man,
So
that's insane. You got to give me your secret.
I don't know what I did, honestly. Cam Newton found him. He caught it. Ran for a touchdown.
Hmm.
But Anthony Barr though, I mean, 4 interceptions. Frank
That's
traded for
nuts.
him, and
That is
obviously
nuts.
put him to use.
I wonder. I don't know if he's using him or not,
I
but regardless,
watched.
that's really
Yeah,
impressive.
I watched his Week 2 game against the Raiders, and it was kind of a mix between him using Barr and the rookie he used last year. I can't remember his name. He was kind of going back and forth.
Oh, Darius Leonard.
Yeah, and Anthony Barr could be Week 2 player of the week again. He had a pick six, so I mean, I don't know. He's off to a good start.
I wish I had him. He's nice.
Yeah. So, and then we got game of the week following the telecast around 11 p.m. So it'll be a little bit after we go off there.
Hmm.
Um, but that would be between the Jets and the Bengals. So what do you kind of see? What do you kind of see there? What's your prediction?
I would lean with the Bengals if they hadn't gotten rid of AJ Green. I don't recall off the top of my head if he replaced him
You got
at
Rashard
receiver.
Matthews from the Titans, but that I wouldn't
Eh,
call that a
yeah,
replacement.
yeah, that's meh. I don't like him at all. That defense is definitely tough. I just don't think that since he's going to have enough weapons on offense to compete, because that Jets defense is pretty tough. Um, and even though the Jets team isn't great, and I don't know what his draft was like, there's a lot of young talent on that team. So after a full season, I think that team is ready to go. I would say the Jets would win this game.
Okay. I think I'll be calling it, but I think he's gonna do some good things in this game, and it's gonna lead to a victory for him. Um, both of them first time in prime time. I know Cincy's a little nervous, but it should be a good game. So that's what I'm hoping for, anyways. And then real quick before we sign off tonight, just want to plug our 2 other shows, Ray and Sundance Beyond the Whistle. They will be going live this coming Wednesday on Halloween. So it's gonna be a Halloween edition. Could be spooky. You never know. That'll be at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Halloween, and then we have a brand new show, and it's gonna be all Mr. Denim. It's gonna just be him. That's it. Like, you want to listen to him talk. I know a lot of people love listening to him broadcast games, just because of his attitude, and he doesn't really care, what people think. And so he's got his show, and that's going to start Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the name of it is Zero Fucks Given, because he doesn't really give a fuck about anything. So hope y'all will tune into both of those shows and see
I'm excited for that.
for the
Um,
Zero Fucks Given.
yep,
Yeah,
it's reminds me of Hotep's show. I hope Hotep does another one soon.
yeah. I hope he does too. I got a ton of viewers, so I hope he's able to do one soon. Hopefully nobody quits the league and pisses him off for him to do it, but hopefully he'll find a reason to do it here soon. So, but other than that, that's our show tonight. And like I said, I hope y'all will check out those shows in the week, Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday's 10 p.m., Friday's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until next Sunday for our 10th episode of MaddenCast, this is Vols signing off along with OMG. Hope y'all have a good night.
See you guys.